Okay. And we are back. Welcome to the Soapbox, where people who work, volunteer, and care about recovery tell us who they are and what they're most passionate about. My name is Rich Jones, RN, and I represent Parenting Your Child in Recovery.com and the home website, secondstarts.com. Today, my guest is Victoria Duarte. She is a certified mindfulness coach and the co founder of the Healing Arts Center in Virginia Beach. Victoria, thank you for being here. Hello.
Thank you so much.
Good. My pleasure to have you. I wanted to talk to you when I saw what you guys did because being a veteran myself, it kind of meant something to me. So I want to start off as I normally do, getting the Cliff Notes version of who you are, how you got here, and how you got here, and also you could throw Mark in there too. How you guys got, how this thing got started.
Thank you so much for having us. Mark and I decided to open up Healing Arts Center because we saw a need with the military, with veterans, and with very much in the community around us,
Mhm.
that people were needing holistic care. And many people, many people thought that they had to go either holistic or traditional.
Mhm.
And instead of feeling all this pressure to do one or the other, we wanted to bring providers together that really believed in empowering, educating, advocating, and teaching clients like you don't have to pick one or the other, you could do both.
Mhm.
And so here we actually encourage people to see a therapist. A lot of veterans that we see, or a lot of active duty, there's still the stigma of going to a therapist. There's still this
Mhm.
fear of what that might be for them, what that would mean, how that could change their career. And so having someone like Mark, who is a retired special operator, being able to tell his story, being able to educate and say, no, there's great resources out there. These are the different foundations that support active duty veterans. And really what we like to be is a resource for people. So some people
Okay.
stay with us for a significant amount of time, and others just, we're kind of a stopping place where people gather information. And we're like, these are vetted providers that foundations have worked with, that really understand the pain and the struggle that you're going through.
Mhm.
And so what we really want to do is just start minimizing people's fear of seeing a therapist or going to a holistic provider, and them thinking that this is all that they can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. Yeah. Quick question before we even move on. What about yourself? Mindfulness coach and somatic coach, is it? Tell me,
Yes.
tell me something about that and how you mended this into what you're doing.
So years ago, I was a special educator, and when I was working with children, so often we would do mindfulness work with the children. We
Mhm.
would stop and we would go, okay, where's your breath? Instead of you getting angry, what else can we do? And what I would see is that the children would then go teach their parents. And that was such a beautiful ripple of how the impact that I was having as a teacher, it was going home with them. It was going home to their grandparents. It was going home to their siblings. It was going home to their
Okay.
parents. And then eventually over time, I felt called to do emotional intelligence workshops where I was teaching teachers and parents how to communicate with their children using mindfulness tools, but it was
Okay.
really for them and learning how to give themselves a timeout when they needed it. And so it's transformed into this wonderful work that I do now with clients to just teach them how to learn how to be compassionate and caring with themselves.
Okay.
And so often I think we rush or we bury or we suppress our feelings and we don't know how to be with them. We were taught at a very young age, hey, if you're mad, go to your room, or if you're sad, go cry it out somewhere else. We were taught not to be with our feelings, but to push them aside. And so many of us have disassociated ourselves from our
Right.
feelings, and it's so difficult. And so what I love about somatic and mindfulness and the way that I do it is to do it in a way that feels safe and supported to you. So it could be through movement, it could be through breath work, it could be through writing. it could be through art, which is what Mark does. Just learning different ways of how to be with yourself and be with your feelings that are safe, especially if you were told as a young child,
Mhm.
you can be happy, not too happy, but you can be
Right.
happy, but sad and anger, not allowed in our house.
Okay.
And, that's a statement that I think it has stayed with a lot of
Okay.
people.
Okay, very, very nice. Okay, before we move on, I just want to tell everybody, if you are the parent, mentor, or practitioner who loves, cares, or works with young adults at risk, in trouble, or in any type of current therapy, parenting your child in recovery.com. It's our program that accelerates and multiplies the results that you're getting from your evidence-based treatments. So in the show notes, you'll see somewhere for people who support those people and practitioners who support those people. Okay, Victoria, it's time for me to put you up on the soapbox, and we're going to talk to you and ask you some questions and kind of spur you on to give us some theory and some thought behind what you guys do. So, the first thing I want to talk to you is about, again, if a person comes to you, what does that look like when they come to you? What does the approach look like? What does the funnel look like as you say how you help people? Give us a brief overview of that.
When people come to us, they're grieving, they feel lost, they feel
Mhm.
confused, they're going through an identity crisis, whatever that might bring them to our doors. Oftentimes, we are their last resort. They've tried
Mhm.
other things, and they don't feel like it's worked for them. And so they find ourselves in our office. And one of the things that is extremely important to every single provider that works for us is, are we working within our scope? So are we the right provider for them?
Right.
And that is through being transparent. It's by understanding what they need and not feeling like they're, just because they made an appointment and now they're forced to stay with us. It's
Got that.
educating and advocating and teaching clients that they get a say here. They have boundaries that we respect. And if they don't know how to have a boundary, which is often what we see with our clients,
Mhm.
we teach them, hey, you can say no to us. We want to
Okay.
hear your no. We want to teach you how to say no.
Okay.
And so it's creating space for safety. I think safety is such a buzzword that
Mhm.
everyone uses, but really it's the clients that determine, is this a safe space? And we do that by allowing space for clients to feel comfortable giving us feedback, giving us, hey, I'm not comfortable having that discussion quite yet. Can we come back to that? Hey, I don't like that activity. I feel threatened right now. My
Mhm.
nervous system is telling me that this is not safe for me. And respecting, okay, let's shift that. Let's pivot that. We don't have an agenda for clients.
Okay.
What we do is we want to teach them that here in our space, we want to empower you. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that if they're a people pleaser in their relationships, they're going to
Mhm.
do that with their provider. They're going to want to, make the provider feel comfortable, make the provider feel like they are doing it right, right? And
Yeah.
instead of that, we're taking away all those barriers. No, we want you to feel so empowered. And
Right.
that's a lot of the work that we do, is teaching people how to trust themselves, how to empower themselves, and feel comfortable no matter what space they're in.
Oh, very, very nice. Very, very, very thoughtful. I like that approach. It's very much needed because sometime as people in the helping businesses, that is true that clients will try to ease your pain because they are so used to being people pleasers. They're even trying to ease your pain. It's like, okay, but that's nature.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the association and the mindset toward the military and the first responders. I know that's how it was, the birth of it, but tell me about that association.
So we have been really privileged with working with different foundations. We work with the Navy SEAL Foundation, we work with the Pillar Foundation, and there's several other foundations that we've been vetted through. And so those ones primarily work with special operators,
Okay.
which is what my business partner is. And he kind of opened that door. And then we had other people that saw our work, really liked us. We have therapists and psychologists and PAs refer their clients through us because they really like the scope that we stay in. we're a great place for people to walk through, who understand what they're going through, but we also understand that we might just be a pebble on their journey. And what
Mhm.
I mean by that is we continue to encourage, hey, you really have to have this conversation with your therapist. This would be a great place for you to talk to your therapist about. And so we really honor and respect people where they're at. And with having a founder, Mark, my business partner,
Mhm.
who's a Navy SEAL, he has his uh, people who he's mentored. He's had his mentors walk through the door. And it's this wonderful place where we often see, because Mark is a retired Navy SEAL, we see a lot of people from that world just
Mhm.
let their guard down because they don't have to be on. They
Mhm.
get to be themselves, they get to be vulnerable, they get to sit with someone who understands what it's like to be a veteran. We have a special operator spouse that works here at our office.
Okay.
She really can relate to a lot of people, and she's also a veteran herself. So she understands the journey, and she's someone that you don't have to be strong with. This identity of being vulnerable is weakness. No, we want to take that away and let people know that this is a place where you can have real discussion. We might be the first person that you've talked to about a certain situation that you're going through because it hasn't felt comfortable for you to open up. But what we're seeing is that if you feel safe and comfortable with us, you
Mhm.
might feel safe and comfortable talking with someone else that might be a better fit for you or not, if that makes sense. Like in
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
we had someone who was a veteran for 20 years. He's never talked about the things he experienced.
Okay.
And he's carried that pain with him for so
Mm.
long. His wife dropped him off at my office. And he was so surprised at how easy it was for him to open up, for him to talk about things. And in my opinion, he needed additional support. And so I
Okay.
referred him to one of the foundations that helps with all veterans. And he sent me a message going, "Thank you so much. And I'm coming back to see you." And it was wonderful because it's not this one option. It's opening up the door for people to understand and see that we really just want people to get the help that they need and that they deserve.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. Um, Victoria, um, give me your views on self-compassion. I know being a mindfulness coach, you have a wealth of knowledge in that area. Just talk to us about the self-compassion, how to produce it, how to enforce it, I might say.
So, self compassion for me, what it really means for me is learning how to take up space, right? Learning how to be with yourself when you're having a moment of anger, of
Mhm.
frustration, of embarrassment. And instead of it taking over your day, that you can be with yourself moment to moment. So instead of you're at a meeting, you've gotten very frustrated, it didn't go well.
Mhm.
And instead of carrying that pain and frustration with you home to the ones that you love who are precious to you, and instead of being this frustrated, angry human being at the
Right.
people that you love, you take care of yourself in the moment instead of waiting for it to get better or waiting for that perfect moment. And so that can just be simple as putting your hand over your heart and going, "Gosh, I really tried so
Okay.
hard."
Mhm.
Speaking to yourself with kindness, allowing to be space for you to have gentle touch with yourself. Because when we do that, we allow our body to know, hey, that moment did happen and it was frustrating, but it doesn't mean that it has to be now our new identity of who we are, that we're a failure, that we are this horrible human being. We take a situation and then we create this huge narrative around it. And if we can have some self-compassion, it acknowledges the pain that we experienced, but it gives it space for us to let it go.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. You spoke to me about not, an idea that not one size or one approach fits all. So how do you guys
Mhm.
approach that? You know?
I think everyone has this idea that if meditation worked for everyone, that it should work for you.
Okay.
Or if this one thing worked for 90% of the people out there, then clearly it should work for me, right? And with that idea, it sets you up for failure because
Mhm.
you might have a pain or a struggle that you're going through right now that if you close your eyes and just meditate, it can increase your triggers. And so it's about finding, like, what works for you, what is best for you. And sometimes for me, I will work with clients who are incredible writers or incredible artists, or finding that very thing that comforted them as a child is often the question that I will ask children.
Okay.
I will ask clients
Mhm.
is, what is that thing that you did as a
Okay.
child that gave you a sense of comfort?
Mhm.
And I get a whole range of questions or answers to that. And with that comes the idea of, okay, well, I'm not the artist in this company. Can I help you find an appointment with Mark, who is an art coach? Or, would you be better suited with an art therapist? I have a great resource for that. And so sometimes it's finding what would best support that person, and also understanding, what are my techniques, am I trained in that, can I
Mhm.
best support them in that.
Mhm.
And I'm very honest. I really, really want to see people succeed. I really want people to get healthy. It takes so much courage eh, to ask for help, that if I am just keeping a client because I can,
Mhm.
because I have all this great training behind me, but they're not seeing any progress,
Right.
that is not okay. That is
Mhm.
not acceptable. And for
I agree.
me, it's really understanding it takes so much courage to ask for help. And I want the person that I am sitting with to get the best help.
Okay. All right. You just said something, and I wanted to ask you about that. It struck some curiosity with me. You talked about he's not here to speak for himself, but you're his worthy mouthpiece. Uh, Talk to me about that. What different types of therapies? You mentioned the art therapies. Some of the things that you actually do there? You
Oh
know?
gosh, we have so many.
Yeah.
So we have Erin, who owned But First Heal Thyself, and
Okay.
she is a licensed therapist. She offers cognitive behavioral therapy. She offers DBT, yoga, Reiki, and some other, and walk and talk therapy. I think, yeah, those are some of the basic things that she
Mhm.
offers. She also offers different types of therapy as well. We have a Reiki practitioner who is usually in the mountains of Montana offering
Okay.
healing to special operator spouses, but she's here in our office, and she works mostly with military women, and as well as spouses. We have a nutritional coach.
Okay.
We have an oncology massage therapist
Okay.
who is incredible. And she was once working at the hospital and offering it at the hospital for oncology patients. And now she's also at our office.
Okay. And Mark does the art therapy,
He does art coaching.
art coaching, art
Yeah.
coaching. Like I said before, he's not here to. But my curiosity is overwhelming me right now. Art coaching.
Art coaching. So what he does is he blends in a little bit of his military leadership
Mhm.
role that he had, and really knowing how to ask questions, and getting to the root of it. He's very much about making the most with the time, making effectively the most with his time with his clients. And so having honest, raw conversations is one of the things that he brings to the table. And it's really hard sometimes to do that when you're just staring at the client and you're just eye to eye, and it
Right.
can feel like a lot of pressure. And so he brings in art as a way to blend that in and make the person comfortable. And so as they are creating artwork, he's going to ask questions. He's going to be intrigued by, why did you pick those colors? And what is the emotional effect that this is having? And what does that represent to you? And so he blends in conversation and asking questions. And then he goes a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper until people really open up to him. And by doing something else other than just sitting, it takes the pressure off of being open and raw. And that can be very difficult, especially with some of the men that he sees. They're not used to having these deeper conversations, and having deeper conversations with someone who understands what they both have experienced. And so having the artwork is some way of just connecting at a deeper level and kind of distracting at the same time in some
Yeah.
ways.
That is extremely interesting. That's extremely interesting. Okay. Again, when remind everybody, we'll have in the show notes the information which you can get to and contact Victoria and the people at her at the Healing Arts of Virginia Beach, located in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Yes, we
Okay.
also do online if anyone needs it.
Okay, very good. Then I'll keep the website up there. We'll put it in the show notes. Any other, is it just, in other words, is your situation unique? Uh, do you have other places, or is it just your place, or have you emulated this or passed it on to another group? I mean,
We've seen other people get inspired by us. I
okay,
don't know if they have interviewed people the way that we have. So
okay,
every provider that's been in our office has sat through an intense interview, conversation, however you want to say it, with Mark, because we really wanted to make sure that every single person in our office was compassionate and client centered. And that was extremely important to us based on some things that we have seen and experienced firsthand, and things that we've heard from clients. So we don't know if we're unique. We do know that we hear from a lot of our clients that this is a safe, compassionate place. That should not be unique. That should not be something that we get to say, that is just us. However, we're hearing from multiple clients that, we're not money profit focused. We are very much like, Veterans Day, we're checking our phones.
okay,
We check our phones on certain death anniversaries that we know of.
right.
We're checking our phones when one of our Gold Star kids is struggling. We check our phones because we always want to be a place where they know they can reach out. And if they're reaching out, we're answering that immediately.
Okay. All right. Okay. So in those show notes, we'll check out. And also, again, if you are the parent, mentor, or a practitioner who loves, cares, or works with young adults, they could be at risk. They could be in trouble. They could be currently in your actual treatment. Parenting your child in recovery.com accelerates and multiplies your results. So check in the show notes. There'll be somewhere for practitioners to get a hold of us to work with us. And there'll be a place for uh, loving support people to look and get a hold of us also. Okay, Victoria, we'll talk about some of the projects. Talk to me about, and I sort of asked you this before, but give me a little bit. You do the one-on-one coaching, right?
Yes.
Talk to me real quickly about that. What can people do to get?
So most of the work that we do isn't group focused. It's working with people on an individual basis, so that they can feel like they can have a conversation with us, that they might be too vulnerable to do that in a group setting. And that's most of our work. We do offer a couple of classes and different things, but for the most part, what we've seen that people have felt the safest and most comfortable is by just being one-on-one with one of us.
Oh, okay, all right. And you talked about this before, but the special operator foundations, I
Mhm.
that's something every now and then I've heard of one, but how many are there? I mean,
Oh gosh, there's several. Now
okay.
they have just for the men. They have ones now that are taking over for the women, which is great and supportive. Something that I have when I first started working with special operators, I my first question was, what about the wives? What about the children? What about the
Mhm.
families? They have for the gold stars. So there's different foundations for different things. We've been very blessed with the fact that so I'm a Reiki practitioner, which is energy work,
Mhm.
and the Navy SEAL Foundation, amongst other foundations, have supported several special operators and support staff to come see me.
Okay. Very nice. One of the things I'd like to do from, getting to meet you guys is I would love to see something like this spread around, you know. I think that it's a
Mhm.
tremendous idea, and hopefully through this show, I'd be so happy if at least one person contact you and said, "What could they do?" To start something like this or in a different area. I think that would be great. Um, I hope that I presented the military aspect well enough. I know that there was some concern, but remember this: I am a proud veteran, United States Air Force. uh, Nothing special, but nothing unspecial about it either. So, but I have a special place in my heart. A lot of family that served, I served. So, taking care of the military for me is a priority, and especially the families of the military. I always get so upset when the
Yep.
people complain about military spending, and I said to somebody, "Don't you understand that maybe military spending is on households and things of that nature? It's not all bombs, you know. Sometimes we can spend military and take care of our military personnel. Actually, what a thought, you know." So I try to
Right.
enlighten people with that. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me, and thank Mark also and everybody in your office. Um, and tell a couple of the other practitioners in their office if they want to get on the soapbox, tell them call me because I want to hear really from all you guys. I think that what you're doing is inspirational and it's a cut above. You know, it's moving forward to actually helping people, and that's why I got the show. So I want to thank you for that so much. Um,
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
it's my pleasure. Uh, the one last time, email to check Victoria out and get a hold of it, get a hold of this situation. If you have anybody who could use this type of care, especially if they were, had some former service and they've had some trouble like that and never had an opportunity to open up, this is a very safe space to do that. You can see them in person, you can see them online. One more time with the website. All right. For myself and Victoria and the soapbox, I want to thank everybody for being here and reminding everybody, let's get out there and help somebody get better, help somebody stay better, and most importantly, let's help somebody be better. Thank you.